And now finally the Border Television News Summary. The Queen today opened the giant Kielder Reservoir, the largest man-made lake in Europe. Plans by Pontins to build a £7 million holiday village in the Isle of Man have been dropped, in spite of an offer of £4.25 million in grants from the Manx government. It will mean a major rewriting of budget proposals that were made only last week. And Pontins say that they pulled out on economic grounds. Cumbria's 350 full-time firemen have been asked not to join next week's National Industrial Action. Donald Fell, the chairman of the county's Public Protection Committee, has asked for more time so that his members can investigate the fireman's case. It's been confirmed today that Dumfries sailor 25-year-old Peter Imrie is safe and on his way home from Chile. He was listed as missing last Friday after his Sea King helicopter was found burnt out. Now the weather forecast. There'll be early morning fog patches giving way to a sunny and mainly dry day later. Winds are expected to be westerly and light, with temperatures at around maximum of 16 or 17 degrees centigrade, that's 61 to 63 degrees Fahrenheit. And the outlook is expected to be warmer and mostly dry. And that's the end of the weather forecast and the news for this evening. And it brings us to the end of programmes for this Wednesday night here on Border. We'll of course be with you again in the morning. We open at 9:35 with our programmes for schools. There's a change to our advertised programmes tomorrow evening though on Border, with the scheduled programme Emmerdale Farm beginning 10 minutes earlier than advertised in TV Times at 10 to 7 now. And at 7:20 we're presenting the FA Cup replay. That's tomorrow night at 7:20 with TVR at 9:30 and as usual the news at 10. Well, that's tomorrow, and now we're closing down until the morning with the time approaching 8 minutes past midnight. Good night. And just a final reminder to switch off your sets. Good night.
And so we come to the end of our programmes from Border Television for this Sunday, and indeed for this weekend. We hope you've enjoyed them. Tomorrow evening there are two new series beginning. There's Foxy Lady starring Diane Keane at 8 o'clock, and at 8:30 a new series of World in Action. At 9 o'clock there's Harry's Game. And, of course, tomorrow at 10:30 we continue the Gangster Chronicles. Those are some of the programmes. Alan Cartner will be your announcer. With the time now approaching 13 minutes to midnight, may I now wish you all a very good night and sleep well. And now it's just after 13 minutes to midnight. And again to you all a very good night, and you won't forget to switch your set off, will you? Good night.
For tonight, TV AM will be back on the air at 7:15 with Rub-a-Dub Tub, followed at 8:15 by Good Morning Britain. At 1:30, Farming Outlook talks to women involved in agriculture and meets Enid Bushby, whose kitchen is the nerve centre of a large dairy farm in Cumbria. 2:15, World Athletics from Helsinki. At 5, the return of Sale of the Century with Nicholas Parsons. And at 7:15, Gina Lotta Brigida, Shelley Winters, Phil Silvers, Peter Lawford and Telly Savalas in the comedy film Buonasera, Mrs. Campbell. Clive Champley is our announcer tomorrow, but now with the time approaching 14 minutes to midnight, this is Alan Cartner wishing you a very good night. It's 14 minutes to midnight, and you won't forget to switch off your set, will you?
Sunday night highlights on ITV.
Those are some of the programmes we have for you tomorrow night from Border. But now we've come to the end of our Saturday night together, and as the time comes round to 12:32, 28 minutes to 1, it's time for us to leave you. Don't forget that TVAM will be on the air on this channel from 5 to 7 in the morning. We'll be back with our first programme, Gardening Time, at 9:25. But in the meantime, from all of us here at Border, thank you for watching, and for now, a very good night. If you're still listening, one final reminder from me: for your safety and the safety of your family and your neighbours, don't forget to switch off your set at the wall socket. Why not do it right now? Good night, everyone. Well, that's brought us to the end of our programmes for Saturday night. I mean, there's nowhere else we could go now, is there, really, when you think about it? However, the time is approaching 24 minutes to 1. 24 minutes to 1. We're closing down. TVAM will be on this channel with Good Morning Britain with David Frost from 7:25. We'll have our first programme, an early look at the Border Diary, at 9:25, the first of our programmes for Easter Day. Until then, from all of us at Border, we thank you for watching, and we bid you now a very good night. If you're still listening, one final reminder from me: for your safety and the safety of your family and your neighbours, don't forget to switch off your set at the wall socket. Why not do it right now? Good night, everyone.
Well, with that weather forecast and the Border News Summary, we come to the end of our programmes from Border Television for today, and we hope you've enjoyed them. If we look ahead just briefly to tomorrow evening, well, at 7:30 there's Street Hawk, at 8:30 Minder, and Arthur goes out on the town with Yorkie. He's an old mate from the past, and he manages to lose him. At 9:30 there's TVI, and then of course tomorrow at 10:30 there's another programme in the series Studio One. Those are just a few of the programmes you can see if you join us, and we hope you can. And we leave you now with a look at the clock. And it shows us that the time is now approaching 19 minutes to 1. So on behalf of everybody at Border Television, to you, wherever you may be, may I, Clive Chamney, now wish you a very good night, and sleep well. Good night. Well, now it's just after 19 minutes to 1, so again to you all a very good night, and you won't forget to switch your set off, will you? Good night.
Right, that's just about it for this Thursday night. I hope you've enjoyed the whole programme this evening. It's just after midnight now. I have to get home before I change. Just a word about tonight being a Friday. We've got some cracking programmes tonight, I can tell you. After the Take the High Road, we have Albie Market and the Street Fighter tonight. It really is an excellent film with Charles Bronson and James Coburn. That's at 7:30. It's the practice at 9, and then International Athletics, which tomorrow night come from Crystal Palace. And then at 11 o'clock we have the second of a 3-part drama series, Return to Eden. I watched the first part last week. It really is excellent. I'm right into that, so I should be watching that tonight. I shall see you in Berwick on Saturday. I hope you're going to be there. Berwick and Duns, 2 places on Saturday up there, so I hope you're going to say hello. And Holt Whistle on Sunday. They tell me they're throwing me into the Holt Whistle baths, the new one that's open. There'll be no water in it. Here's the weather forecast. Most of the region will be dry with sunny periods, but it will be rather cloudy at times on eastern coasts. Winds will be easterly light or moderate, and it'll be rather warm too, it says here. Temperatures around about 19 to 20 degrees centigrade, that's 66 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit, depending on where you are. But that's a degree or two cooler in the east. The weekend outlook is thundery outbreaks spreading from the north, but it is going to get warmer, so it should be a great weekend wherever you are. That's it then, from everyone here at Border Television. We hope you've enjoyed our programmes. I shall be back with you tonight, as I mentioned earlier. And Alan Cartner will be with you again in the morning. Just time now to say night and night, and if you're all alone this evening, a very special good night to you. We ask Eric Nicely, who shows the clock. There it is. It's just on its way to 3 minutes past midnight. From us all here at Border Television, a very good night to you. Just the usual reminder, once again, don't forget to switch off your set and check all the doors and windows before you retire to Kip. Don't forget, of course, to keep the cat in and gag the budgie. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye now.
Well, I don't know about you, but I won't be taking a shower when I go home tonight. It's put me right off. But we've come now to the end of programmes for today here on Border. But looking ahead to tomorrow night on Border at 7:15, our murder, mystery and suspense film is Lost Flight, starring Lloyd Bridges as airline pilot Steve Bannerman, whose plane is tossed hundreds of miles off course. Totally lost, Bannerman spots a small island, and that's when the adventure really begins. Well, that's tomorrow night at 7:15 on Border, but for now, we take a last look at the clock. And this is Leslie Kearney on behalf of us all here at Border, wishing you a safe and peaceful good night, especially if, like me, you've been watching alone. Good night. And if you're still listening, a final reminder to switch off your set. Good night.
Well, just before we leave you, we take a look at the weather forecast for the coming day. Most of our region's going to have a day of sunny periods with isolated showers, and in the borders these could fall as sleet, but there will be early frost and fog. The wind will be light and from the north. The maximum temperature, as you can see here, 7 degrees centigrade, which is 45 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's the weather forecast. And it's also brought us to the end of our programmes for tonight. Hope you've enjoyed them. A good film, that. Haven't seen it before. Well, now, we're closing down, but TVAM will be on the air on this channel at 6:15 in the morning with Good Morning Britain. We'll be back with the Morning of Schools programmes beginning at 9:30. Tomorrow night sees the beginning of the series proper, LA Law. If you watched the pilot 2-hour episode last night, you will have, I'm sure, seen the mark of Hill Street Blues about it, made by the same team. Looks like it could be a great series. That's tomorrow at 9. And we've got our own Bliss with Mark Armand in the Border Music Shed in concert at 5 to midnight for those of you staying up late. But now let's leave you. This is Pat Doody thanking you for watching, and on behalf of all of us here at Border, we'll bid you good night with a last look at the clock. Well, you'll see the time is 22 minutes to 1. 22 minutes to 1. We bid you good night. If you're still listening, one final reminder from me, don't forget to switch your set off, excuse me, your set off at the wall socket, and why not do it right now?